Good morning everybody, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. First of all, you'll have to excuse my voice. I've had a bit of a flu and I'm pretty much dying here. I've got man flu. But I want to get this review done because I've been actually really looking forward to doing this one. As you can see, the review that I'm doing today is the Prismacolor Verithin. Now, a lot of people use these, especially some of the... I think these pencils, it doesn't really matter whether you're a high-end artist or whether you're just starting out or anything like that, because if you use these pencils in the way that Prismacolor kind of intend them to be used, you shouldn't really experience too many problems with them or too many issues. But if you use them for kind of like just the entirety of your project, then obviously you're going to come into problems, but that will become more apparent as I go on in the in the review. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the packaging. As you can see here, it's just a little box, little cardboard box. On the back here you've got a little bit of information. You've got the color code here of the pencils that are in here. This happens to be the 24 set that I have. One of the issues that I have with the packaging is a package this small, when it gets delivered to my house, the postman can just slip this through the letterbox, and depending on how the store where you've bought it from packages it up. In other words, when these came to me, they came just wrapped up in brown paper with the address on it. So when the postman comes to my house, he doesn't need to knock on the door or anything like that. This will fit through my letterbox. The only problem being is there's quite a big drop from the letterbox to the floor, and we've got wooden floors in our house. And so when this package comes through and he just pushes it through the letterbox, because he's a postman, he's got no idea what's in the package, and this drops down onto the floor, then you can pretty much guarantee that the vast majority of the pencils that are in this box are going to be shattered all the way through. That's not necessarily a Prismacolor problem. I'm not too sure where the ownership would lie on that or anything like that. I mean, the guy I've actually spoke to my postman that comes here, and if he comes across packages this small and I don't happen to be in, you know, he either tries to knock the door first of all so that I come to the door, or he'll take it to a neighbour. But it's just an issue. Now, one of the really good things about this package, however, on the other hand, is, and I'm going to try and do this now on the camera because it is a little bit fiddly, but I'll try and do it. I'll make a full out of myself, no problem, no doubt. This whole package thing actually turns into kind of like a little bit of a stand. So you pull this part down to halfway, and you can see here there's kind of like a little cut here. It's like a little perforation all the way across, and when you've got this part here so far down, this part will bend back. Let me turn it over to the side. It will actually bend back on itself like that. And so once you've got it bent back, then you can push this part back up. Bringing this little tab here down at the bottom and securing it all in place. And then you have a little stand. Just let me zoom out a little bit here so you can see it a little bit better. So the pencils will actually stand up as you and so whenever you're using them, you've got a nice little way of getting to them rather than spilling them all out onto your table or anything like that. So I thought that was a really nice little touch. It makes things quite easy whenever you are actually using them. But for now, I'm just going to keep it down like this. Now, I'm not too sure if this applies to the other packets like the 36 and the 12 pack, but I'll come across that whenever we go further into the review. So let me just zoom back in here. So as you can see here, like I said, this is a 24 pack. Now the packs that it comes in is 12, 24 and 36. 36 is the biggest set that they have. Now Prismacolor, these are a little bit like Derwent do with the Derwent Artist range and the Studio, in that they kind of complement each other, and that's what the Verithin are supposed to do. According to Prismacolor, and I would absolutely agree with this, these pencils are more for line work, detailed work, that type of thing. And so if you're using your Prismacolor Premier pencils, then you would get these pencils out and you would use these for more like line work and detailed work, and maybe perhaps even lettering and stuff like that. In fact, they actually say that on the back of the box, that lettering is one of the things that they would use these for. But my only issue with that is, and perhaps maybe with the Verithin it's a little bit different. With the Prismacolor Premier, they have 150 colours in their total, but they've only got 36 Verithin, and so if they're supposed to complement each other, again, you know, there's a vast difference in colour palettes there. So if you're using all the colours that you have in the 150 and you come to do some sort of like detailed work or line work that is required for your project, the chances of you having the colour that you're going to actually need within the Verithin may not be too good. But then again, at the other side of it is, they've, with the colours that they have here, they've give you a really decent range of colours. So, you know, it may not be an issue because it's just a little bit of detail or a little bit of line work. It may not show up that well. But let me just lift the pencils that I'm going to kind of demonstrate to you. Also, as you can see here, the pencils, I really like this actually. The pencils, when they get delivered to you, they are not sharpened, so you get to sharpen them yourself, so you get the full pencil. So that's a big plus. I personally like that. Some people may not really. Just let me move these over to the side. Okay, so as you can see here with the pencils that I have, the core is incredibly thin. It's a 3mm core, approximately 3mm, and the barrel is between 5 and 6mm. So it's a lovely thin pencil. It's hexagonal. So you know, I've spoke about this before. A lot of artists, so some prefer hexagonal, some don't. Some prefer the round pencil. It just all really depends. That's just a personal preference. It really has nothing to do with the performance of the pencil. I always go on about the information that is down the side of the pencils, because the information that's written on the pencils can on a lot of occasions be really quite helpful. On the Verithin here, down at the bottom towards the actual core, we have Mexico, which is obviously the origin of where these pencils are made. Then next to that we have the Prismacolor name and their logo, really. Next we have the brand of pencil, which is Verithin. And then going up a little bit from that, we have the colour of the pencil. But the first name that you come to, the first lettering that you come to, this colour is, I believe it's French. It's the name of the colour, but in French. Then just on up a little bit from that, you've got a number, and that number corresponds to the pencil if you choose to get the pencil in open stock. And then further on up you have again the name of the colour, but in English this time. There is no other information on the other side or anything like that. It's all just down the one side. Now, one thing that's lacking here or missing, which I always bring up, is the light fast ratings. Perhaps maybe for a lot of manufacturers, the light fast rating, if it's a small set like this and they're not really meant for your full project, maybe the light fast rating on the end of it isn't that important. But But I think as the medium, as colour pencils is getting more and more popular, I think maybe telling people the individual light fastness of the pencils might be something that manufacturers could look at in the future. So, as I always do, I have a little test here that I'm going to do. Now, as I've said, these pencils are designed for line work and for lettering, that type of thing, a little bit of detailed work. When you sharpen these pencils, as you can see, they hold a point incredibly well, and they hold it for a very long time, which is, you know, exactly what you are wanting to get out of a pencil that is designed for detailed work, designed for let me just zoom in a little bit. It's designed for detailed work, and it's designed for line work, that type of thing. All the stuff that you're going to need to really get in there and get as much detail as you can. Like I say, the core stays sharp for quite a considerable amount of time. The only issue I have with these pencils with regards to the core is the blending. Now, as you can see here from the tests that I've done, this is the same test that I always do with colour pencils. On the top here we have one light layer, and that light layer is, as you can see, the pigment isn't incredibly strong. And then further down we have we have 5 light layers just layered on top of each other. Now, perhaps maybe this test isn't really that fair, given that these pencils aren't really designed to be, you know, I don't know, say you're doing a portraiture. These pencils aren't designed to be the type of pencils that you would use for the overall skin tone of your project. But I've just given this test to these pencils as it's the same test that I do for all of them. So as you can see here, the top one's a light one, the next one down is the 5 light layers, and the one after that is just one heavy layer of the pigment. Now, as you can see down at the bottom here, there's a little bit of blending that I've done. The blending isn't really good at all. But again, these pencils aren't supposed to be used for blending. If you use them in the way that Prismacolor intend them to be used, you're going to be doing small detailed work with them, a little bit of line work, and you're not really going to be blending with them. Now, some people would say Prismacolor, they advertise them as an artist grade pencil, and so therefore they really should be able to, the pigment should be to a softness where you're going to be able to blend them, whether it be dry or whether it be with solvent. But then if you have that softness, then you're not going to have the hardness that you're going to require for the detailed work and for the core of the pencil to remain sharp and pointed. So I guess you know, you've got to compromise a little bit and give and take a little. Another thing to take into consideration with the Prismacolor Verithin pencils is the cost. And when you take into consideration how important these pencils could be to a project that you're doing, the cost of these pencils is, I think, a really competitive price point. So for example, if you're to go, the 3 sets that I've already mentioned to you, the 12, 24 and the 36. So if you go for the set of 12, you're talking about £9 or £10 here in the UK. In the States, again, about $9, and in Europe it's about €12, and in Australia you're talking about 19 Australian dollars. Then for the set of 24 in the UK, you're talking about £12. Again, in the States you're talking about $13, in Europe about €14, and in Australia you're talking about 39 Australian dollars. And then for the bigger set, the 36 set, you're talking about £28 for here in the UK. Similar cost for the US, about $27. In Europe it's about €31, and in Australia you're talking about 58 Australian dollars. So as you can tell, the price point is exceptional really whenever you're putting it up against other pencils. And the Prismacolor name is just, it's mammoth within the coloured pencil world. All coloured pencil artists know the name Prismacolor. There has been a few little hiccups with regards to quality control and stuff like that, but that is with the Prismacolor Premier pencils. With these pencils, no issues whatsoever with sharpener or anything like that. None of them have broke, nothing. So with regards to that, there's no issues whatsoever. Overall, these pencils are, they do what they say on the tin. They are a harder core pencil. They're thin. Obviously, the name says it all really, very thin. They are very thin. And if you use them the way Prismacolor has intended them, has designed them and made them to be used, then you will find that these pencils are very, very good pencils and very, very beneficial towards you and the project that you're going to be doing. Like I said, my only issue is and it's a very small issue, is the number of pencils that we have, or that Prismacolor have in the Premier pencils, which these would coincide with. The 150 range that they have up against the 36 range. That's really my only issue that I would have with these pencils. Anyway guys, that's my review for the Prismacolor Verithin. Overall, a good pencil if you use them in the way that Prismacolor have intended them to be used. If you get a set of these and you think that you're going to be able to do portraiture with them, or landscape scenes, that type of thing, then these pencils they're not going to work that well for you. But if you use them the way they're supposed to, then I think you'll have, these would be a great pencil to have just sat on your desk for any project that you're doing. Anyway guys, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I put a lot of my work up on Instagram, my artwork, that type of thing. So if you want to follow me over there, you can do. If you think that this video has been beneficial to you, then please share this video with people that you might feel would benefit from it as well. Don't forget, my reviews are in Coloured Pencil magazine every month, so go across and subscribe to the magazine, not just for my reviews, because at the end of the day it's a fantastic magazine. It, in my opinion, it's one of the best magazines out there for coloured pencil artists. If you go across to the Art Gear Guide, you'll see all the links to all the different social networking sites that I have and stuff like that. So thanks very much guys, I look forward to seeing you again in the next video, and be safe and have a nice day. Bye.